Hello, my name is Clare Bolton and I'm the gallery manager at the Aurora Cultural Centre. Our online exhibition, Beyond the Walls, showcases the artwork of the Uxbridge Artist Collective, and it will continue until September 26th. So please visit our auroraculturalcentre.ca gallery page and enjoy the show. Welcome to another episode of Art Bytes, our online series that gives you an insider look into the creative process. We've featured many artists from our online exhibition, and if you missed any episodes, visit our YouTube channel and you can watch them there. Today, joining Carmel Brennan and myself in conversation, all the way from Victoria, BC, we are pleased to welcome John Pryce and Shelly Burke. Shelly and John, as well as many other artists, have found plein air painting an invaluable tool for larger studio works, as well as a standalone statement. They've painted alone, together, and with other plein air artists in Canada, the US, and Europe. Plein air painting allows the artist to see beyond what the camera sees. Simply by just being there gives you the advantage of observing subtle changes in value and color temperature. Dealing with constantly changing light conditions forces the artist to make spontaneous decisions, creating a fresh and honest statement of the subject. And now I'd like to tell you a little bit about the backgrounds of both Shelly and John. Since her graduation from Ottawa University in Fine Arts and Art History, Shelly has pursued painting and drawing all her adult life. While living in Victoria, BC during the 90s, Burke was introduced to plein air painting, and since that time has enjoyed the challenge of painting outdoor in all types of weather, from minus 30 degrees in Burke Lake, Ontario, to the muggy high temperatures of Southern Ontario. For Burke, studio work is usually a development of outdoor sketches. John's love for art began at a very early age, as he discovered the great satisfaction derived from his ability to draw and paint. He continued developing his artistic interests and eventually became an art major at the highly acclaimed H.B. Beale Tech in London, Ontario. And he continued his studies at OCAD University in Toronto. During a successful career as an architectural illustrator, he worked with some of the world's top architects and developers. John's award-winning paintings hang in corporate offices and personal collections in Canada and the US. He is a signature member of the Ontario Society of Artists and the Federation of Canadian Artists. He's an honorary signature member of the International Plein Air Painters. And so now it's my pleasure to ask Carmel Brennan to tell us a little bit about her connection to John and Shelly.
Well, Claire, I met John and Shelly, many, many years ago. I can't even remember how long, because they've both been involved with the Uxbridge studio tour. And I know that Shelly has been a part of the Uxbridge Artist Collective, I think 2015. She'll correct me on that. And John, of course, as you said, is a member of the Ontario Society of Artists, and he actually arranged a lot of our field trips up to Killarney Mountain Lodge, which was incredible. And the more we were up there, and Shelly used to come up there and paint too, we just got to know each other, and they know Carol and Charlie Stevens and Neil Gregg. You know, they met them all, and of course they know all the Uxbridge artists and many that are in the collective. John has done, he's even done a workshop in my backyard up from my deck of my pond, and he's done a workshop. He did the second part of that one over at Linda Cunningham's. And Shelly and John have painted on the trails, the Uxbridge trails that I walk my dogs on, and it's been a great experience. I know when we get together, I miss them both now that they're out in British Columbia, because it's always, when we've got together, it's been lively conversations about what everybody's doing and painting and everything like that. They've both been so active in their disciplines. I really feel very fortunate being connected to them, and I hope that continues for many, many years.
Oh, thank you, Carmel. Shelly and John, can you talk to us about the value of plein air painting? How does an artist use these paintings as a reference for larger studio paintings?
That's a very good question. For myself, going out and painting outdoors is very exciting. I love seeing the environment and getting involved with the light, the shadow, I get emotionally excited by that. Once I find a focal point and something that I can really concentrate on, that's usually when I start the painting. I start with just, a quick block in, and then start adding more paint, and finally end up with either a sketch or a finished painting. It depends on how long it takes. Quite often too, paintings will be used as a reference tool, so that when I'm back in the studio, I may have taken photos of that scene as well as my finished sketch, or maybe one or two oil painting sketches. So I find that for myself, being outdoors, painting plein air really makes a difference for me and gives me something to be excited about. Otherwise, to work just from a photograph entirely, I don't know all the nuances and the original color and all that type of thing. So yes, being outdoors as an initial start to do a painting is very important.
Thank you. And John, do you have anything to add to that?
No, well, there is not really. I mean, I love the spontaneity of the plein air painting, and it forces you to make quick decisions because the light's changing constantly, and you have to work quickly. You have to make fast decisions, and the result, in most cases, is a very spontaneity and freshness of the painting, which we have to try very hard to duplicate on a large painting. And photographs are important too, but the photographs, they show every leaf and every blade of grass, but in a plein air environment, when we're painting on location, we have the ability to eliminate what we don't need, the noise in the background, whatever, the visible noise, I mean. And I find them very, very helpful. And some of them are standalone pieces anyway. Some of my best works have actually been plein air paintings.
Oh, thank you. And just wanted to talk about our online exhibition for a moment, if you had a chance to view it, and if you could share with us some of the artwork that that stood out for you, that you could maybe tell us what you saw as some of the strengths in those pieces.
Well, I hope Carmel's going to send me a check in the mail, but I really liked the Nest battery. It was just amazing what you did with that broken window. And to me, it looks like a painting. I'd be happy to have a painting that would look like that. It's got great composition and great colors. And also that rock face in Killarney, we've all painted that so many times. It just brings back great memories. So that was also a good one. There was a lot of great art, three-dimensional and two-dimensional art in the collection, but that's the one that I really liked.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
That check will be in the mail there, John. Don't worry.
It is available for sale, by the way.
Okay.
Well, this first one is to both of you, actually. If you look back, let's say over 10, 15 years, how have you changed or evolved? I just want to know the difference, because I know I look at myself and I know I'm changing all the time. I get too bored, so I have to keep changing it up to make myself interested.
Yeah. Shall I say? Or do you want to go? You can go. Well, I had a real challenge going from an architectural illustrator into fine art. the transition was difficult because in my professional career as an architectural illustrator, I had to detail every single thing, every brick, every fenestration had to be perfect. But when I was more involved with the painting and art and painting and landscape painting, I had to get rid of all that. And now I find it much more enjoyable to get rid of all that detail and look more for shapes, textures, color effects. So yeah, my work's changed a lot, and I am hopefully getting better. I think the worst thing I can do is to go back 20 years and think that what I did was pretty good, because that means you're not setting the bar high enough. I think that's what good artists, Shelly and I.
You have to be critical of your own work.
Oh, yeah.
Very, and to the point where sometimes it's maybe not a good thing, but
It can be
it
aggressive.
forces you to, as John said, you have to make the bar higher and higher.
Yeah.
And in doing so, you also have to make your painting simpler, more simple,
Simplifying,
and just focus more on the impact, I would say. And yet, if you want something more delicate, to bring that into that painting as well. So yes, I would say over the years, I've changed quite a lot, even from year to year. I would even say from last year, the way I approach painting is much different. And I also think that teaching brings in a lot of your ability to really focus on different elements that you wouldn't necessarily do when you're just painting. It forces you to look at yourself in a more critical way, as far as color, composition, values are very important, edges, all these types of things. So having just been painting and teaching simultaneously has really, I think, helped both things. Yeah.
Do you think, like, if you're a beginner in painting and you want to do plein air, get out there and paint, do you have to know how to draw? Or
yes, definitely.
Yes.
It really helps.
It helps for sure.
I mean, of the three primary disciplines, drawing, composition, and color, drawing is always the number one. But you can sort of take your amount of ability in drawing and do well with it. You don't have to be an incredible Picasso or whatever. You can get by with your basics of drawing. Composition is so important. And then color, well, you can get away with a lot of color changes,
It's
but
the values.
the values, exactly right.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But drawing is important, but
It's not, especially for people learning how to paint, some people get very frustrated.
that's right. They
To
get
start off with the
frustrated.
drawing. So then you have to simplify it for them. Just, give them something very simple, and then they start enjoying the process more. If it's too complicated, people just give up.
That's right, to give up.
Yeah.
So yeah, a good question about that, because
What fascinates you the most about plein air? Like, you just seem like you're both love plein air, and I know a lot of artists that never do plein air. What is it about plein air that you absolutely love? Is it feeling a part of the environment? Is it a feeling like you're, like Neil, it looked like Neil was like he was part of the trees and the land, the way when he was out there painting. Is that a romantic vision, or?
No, I would say that's a very clear vision. That's you're out there and you're part, it envelops you. It envelops you. And
you can feel the temperature, you can smell the leaves in the fall, you can hear the wind. It's all part of it, and that's what's so amazing about it.
And a lot of times too, when you go out there, I always have these high expectations of what I'm going to do. Oftentimes it really is terrible. And so if I throw it out at the end of the day, it doesn't matter, because I was outside all day and I enjoyed everything about that day.
Oh, okay.
So there is this aspect of, it isn't a wasted day. It's not like when you're in the studio and let's say it's just not turning out. I participate, I've been outside, I get to talk to people, not always, but sometimes people come to talk to you. It's just a more exciting environment.
It seems like it's all about the creative process when you're plein air painting, because even if your painting doesn't work out the way you want, you're in the environment, you're feeling the elements, and you're
Mhm.
painting. Is that true?
Well,
Very much.
yeah,
very much.
it is true, and that's a beautiful part of it. But one of the things that I've learned, and through Shelly and I, we teach now, we have to analyze what we're doing in order to express that to students. And one
Yes.
of the things I found and learned by reading and experience is the left side, right side of the brain, how it works. And it's really interesting because when you're starting off, you're inspired by the scene, something grabs you. But then you have to work your left side of the brain, which is the analytical part of it, in the initial stages in order to have a good composition and make it work. Then later in the painting, as you start to paint, then the creative side kicks in and then you become more creative. And I've learned that we have to have both sides of the brain working when you're working that quickly as well.
Oh, that's really interesting. Thank
Yep.
you. Thank you
Yeah.
so much for joining us. It's been a pleasure. We hope you come back to visit us in Ontario and
Thank
paint
you.
with the Uxbridge Artist Collective. And perhaps, John, one day you'll come and do some workshops at the Aurora Cultural Centre.
Love to. Yeah, good seeing you again, Carmel and Claire.
Yeah, good seeing both of you. Yeah.
Yeah, that was fantastic. Thank you so much.